but it wouldn't be nothing without a woman.
Hey, started out riding man with the geezers when this shit didn't work out the pop about the chick. All of them talks, my bad ass still ain't listen, was living, but taught me the ways that they.
Happy Wednesday. I am your podcast bestie, Danny Marie. I come to you live Monday through Friday, 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to talk all things podcasting, AI, and we sprinkle in some pop culture. There's a lot of pop culture news out there that we're going to address today. But today, unpacking the real cost of going viral is the main topic, and why visibility, fame, and internet attention aren't always as glamorous as they seem. From Jools Lebron's honesty about virality to Cheyenne Bryant's conversations around credibility and the lack thereof, to debates around integrity, compromise, and celebrity culture, we're discussing the emotional, financial, and personal realities behind becoming the moment online in today's creator economy. Now, reminding you, Saturday, we do host a online meetup, and you can visit podcastpeeps.com for more information. But before we get into the juicy topics, let's cover some of the AI basics. So, you know what? Before we do that, even before that happens, if you don't know, I am Danny Marie again, your podcast bestie. I help businesses and creators use podcasting as a marketing tool so they can build trust with their audience and turn listeners into customers through clear content strategies and training. And by the way, if you are a business owner or advertiser, I help you get in front of the right audience so you can increase sales and brand awareness through podcast promotions, creator partnerships, and live activations. And we have to come with the word of the day. This is your podcast creator vocabulary owned audience, an audience you can directly reach outside of the algorithm. For example, email lists, membership communities, text lists, including Discord, school groups. The simple definition, followers that you can contact and on your own terms, not because you need a middleman to help facilitate that conversation for you, but I digress. All right, AI. Let's get into it. My threads are still coming after me because I said something about Kevin Samuels and Dr. Cheyenne, or just Cheyenne Bryant at this point. Take away the doctor. But we'll get into that. We'll get into all of that. Like I said, top podcast and creator industry news. So AI generated pod slop continues becoming one of the biggest conversations in podcasting. New reporting says nearly 39% of newly created podcast feeds may now be AI generated or heavily AI assisted. Are you guys using AI for your podcast? And if so, in what ways? Are you using AI simply for scripting or clipping? Or do you have an avatar or AI host? Or are you using tools like Notebook LM to create the podcast and use the voice over using Notebook? So let me know in the chat, and if you're watching, comment the word live. I would love to connect with you beyond today, and reminding you that it is I, Danny Marie, across all platforms, and we're on YouTube currently. We are on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch, Substack. We did not get Instagram up yet, but I will start my Instagram once we get into the whole pop culture conversation. Creator-led media companies are increasingly competing directly with traditional media networks. Mr. Beast is reportedly pitching advertisers like a full-scale media company during NYC Upfront Week. Black podcast ecosystems continue expanding. For instance, the Black Effect Podcast Festival, which happened April 25th, I know because I attended, out there in Atlanta on the Pullman Yards. And so they highlighted AI, Black media ownership, creator development as key conversations this year. Investors continue pouring money into creator economy infrastructure. So AI creator tools, creator commerce, community platforms, social commerce, creator monetization systems are all dominating startup funding conversations. And human-centered media is becoming a differentiator again as AI content floods platforms. Let's talk a little bit about AI news, product launches, and any major developments. So Japan's AI influencer economy continues to explode with virtual creators and AI personalities replacing traditional influencers in some campaigns. I'm starting to notice there's a lot of AI shows, miniseries, because right now micro dramas are becoming very popular. So I'm starting to see an influx of AI influencers in micro dramas now. And so now to hear that it's out there in Japan and kind of creating the same buzz that it's here doing in the US, I'm not surprised. AI also, podcast creation tools continue scaling aggressively. Companies are reportedly producing thousands of AI-generated podcast episodes daily. So now it's not just your counterparts that you're competing with who felt like it was all on the same level playing field, but now you have big corporate who are now producing at such a high level and putting out content in the thousands. They say almost daily, I guess, as a collective, but I know, like we reported in another episode last week, that I think it was Amazon now has a podcast and they're doing their own product reviews, and they put out about 120 episodes a month. So we have some competition out there, stiff competition, but not so much that you can't still create a lane for yourself. New research around monetizing AI-generated creator content shows YouTubers and creators are increasingly building entire income systems around generative AI workflows. AI infrastructure investment remains one of the hottest areas in tech globally, with creator economy growth now estimated above $300 billion. The creator industry is worth $300 billion present day. Does that make many of you hopeful? Does that make some of you worried about the trajectory of the creator economy and influencing? I'm curious to learn your thoughts. Sorry, you guys just heard me trying to share this to my group. And then, like I said, getting ready to queue this up for Instagram as well. I also want to know some of your favorite podcasters or podcast platforms. So I like Mel Robbins. In recent episodes, apparently, she's been talking a lot about nervous system regulation, reinvention, habits, mindset shifts, leadership. That's the Mel Robbins podcast. I don't listen to Gary Vee, but I know that he influences the culture, so it's almost something you have to pay attention to. So some of his current talking points: AI disruption, creator speed, attention economics, brand positioning, entrepreneurship during media shifts. Emma is another person that I listen to just because of her business acumen. So luxury branding, entrepreneurship, scaling a business, and woman-led creator ecosystems. And that's Aspire with Emma Green. Love listening to 7 p.m. in Brooklyn, though I haven't watched them in a little while. Of course, they talk a lot about sports, including NBA playoffs, sport media narratives, athlete branding, entertainment crossover culture. So I think that's huge, that entertainment crossover culture piece. Those are the podcasts I'm listening to. Would love to know who you all are paying attention to. I know I saw a few episodes that launched today that I want to go watch. So I think Earn Your Leisure dropped something I want to go back and watch. Omar has Sean Cannell from Think Media, and they launched today. And then The Selective Ignorance is a new podcast that I'm not so privy to. Like, I've watched one of their episodes so far, but I think I'm going to go back and rewatch. And that is Mandy B. So she comes from Decisions, and Horrible Decisions. And now she has also the Selective Ignorance podcast. And there was a segment in there where former Hot 97 radio host Rosenberg was saying that he basically birthed and created Charlemagne the God. So that was one of the episodes I want to go back and listen to as well, because obviously that is very jarring to hear Rosenberg say that he believed he birthed Charlemagne. And it's like, then why don't you have, I mean, I know he's getting paid with the whole relationship he has with WWE. I know he's getting paid from them. And then he just got fired from Hot 97. So I don't know where all of his money comes from. But Charlemagne the God is in the Hall of Fame, nationally syndicated radio station, has his own network, and puts on his own festivals. And so if Rosenberg feels like he's son Charlemagne the God, you would see like at least they're on the same level, right? Charlemagne the God is on Netflix with a $200 million deal, I believe. So Rosenberg, not to throw any shade, I don't know all of his business, and there's a lot of stuff that we aren't privy to, but I just don't see him on the same level as Charlemagne the God, even though Rosenberg definitely put a lot of people on and definitely deserves some credit. I just don't think the credit is him putting Charlemagne the God on. I know Charlemagne has been very vocal that if anybody put him on, Wendy Williams, how you doing, was responsible for putting him on, even though Wendy and Charlemagne the God are not on the best of terms. But he definitely credits her for a lot of his success. So I'm interested to go back and watch that episode on Selective Ignorance, episode number 63. Also, top 1% podcast chart movers. Dominant categories right now include sports commentary podcasts, creator business podcasts, relationship debates, personality-led commentary, and video-first podcasts. And some of the key industry trends include podcast clips, which are outperforming traditional episode promotion in discoverability and engagement. Many audiences now discover podcasts through short-form content first. Consistent leaders, the Joe Rogan Experience, The Daily, Crime Junkie, to name a few. You guys, it's Podcast Movement 2026, a major creator networking and podcast business conference happening in New York. Go visit the Podcast Movement for more information. There's also the podcast show happening in London, which focuses on creator monetization, AI, video podcasting, and global podcast growth. And then there's the On Air Fest. I'm not sure if that already happened, but it's one of the most culture-forward audio storytelling festivals, which I have not heard of, and I'm very much interested in. So I am going to make sure to go and do my due diligence. So that happened back in, I don't know why this is so late, but that happened in Brooklyn back in February. So we missed it, but it is something to note for next year. Many of these conferences and festivals are. I think you should have like a 6 to 1 year planning for these festivals, because there's just so many. And I feel like so many are popping up out of the blue. I think that's also the next wave, is like putting on your own festivals, your own conferences, and like I said, building out your own media ecosystem. So for instance, I know, what is his name? I always draw blanks like this. He'll be in Louisiana this month, doing his own family and food type of festival. Oh goodness. Who is the food junkie? Kevin Lee, is it? Oh my Lord. Yeah, this is horrible. You know who I'm talking about. He's the food junkie. He loves doing the food reviews. He became very famous. I got it. I bought it. I liked it. I rated it. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Y'all let me know because I just drew a blank. But, you know, I know he's doing his festival. There's so many people popping up with festivals, and I think it's something worth considering. Depending where you are on your podcast journey, you might feel like right now it's kind of too early, and that might be the case. But what you can start doing is doing your own online meetups and then grow to in-person meetups that are happening on a more frequent basis, and then start to travel to these like smaller spots and build your audience. And then for the people that continue to follow along, you're tracking that information and data. And then at some point, you know, it might be worth your while to do a festival or a conference based on how many successful small events you've created. All right, we already talked about the vocab. Owned audience, an audience you can directly reach outside of your algorithm. And let's get into the real topic of the hour. So yesterday I talked a little bit about Jools on the Tamron Hall show, right? And so Jools Lebron was recently on Tamron Hall, and she talked about her backstory. So she had been a media influencer and content creator since back in 2011. And of course, some people knew her for being an influencer. She did makeup, lifestyle content, and things alike. And she did not go viral, even though, she didn't have her big moment because a lot of her videos had already been getting like 25 million views since she's been at this for so long. But it wasn't until her viral video, very demure, very mindful, that she had her quote unquote big break. And so in this video on the Tamron Hall show, she was basically talking about, you know, how in the moment it felt good, but honestly, there was a lot of stuff that she suffered behind the scenes, from feeling like she was pigeonholed and she was having to still live up to that viral moment, very demure, very mindful, and where she used to get paid maybe $5,000 or $2,000 for a video. Now she's getting offers like $45,000 or $80,000 for a video. And what that basically did to her, how it pigeonholed her, how it was a part of her becoming very depressed because she felt like she could never outlive that moment. She thought that it was going to open doors for other opportunities, but everybody just wanted her to constantly just refer back to very demure, very mindful, even though she felt like she had done so much work, having put on for so many years since 2011. Why is it that all you guys are interested in is having me to talk about this one thing? So she felt very, like it was very one-dimensional, and it just wasn't feeling good. And then I think she had to get a job at some point, and then people called her out for recognizing her at this job. That caused her to be depressed. And then I think she said the very mindful, very demure video was her talking to herself after that moment happened where she had been called out and identified by someone who recognized her from social media. So she goes to the car, talking about Jools Lebron, goes to the car and is kind of coaching herself and reaffirming herself. And that's how you get the video, very mindful, very demure. So she used that moment to encourage herself and speak life into herself. And that's how we know her as the very demure, very mindful trans person. And she was talking about how, I guess, she ended up hooking up with some guy. He came over, or no, she invited a guy over because she wanted to be in the company of another male. His expectation was that I'm coming over for one purpose. And so when she basically declined that offer, he assaulted her physically. And so she barricaded herself and locked herself in the bathroom. And I don't know how that situation ended, but that's all that we heard. So I just want to share. And again, we're talking about the real cost of going viral. So sometimes we put these people on pedestals and we applaud people for putting in the work. And then finally they get this big moment, not realizing everything they had to do to get to where they are, not realizing how much time and effort. So she actually had been doing things since 2011. And we only knew her for very recently, the very demure, very mindful viral video. So putting in the work, not feeling seen, not feeling noticed, going through physical assault and all of these things. So I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to let her do the talking for you. Play this clip.
Welcome back. We're continuing our conversation with internet superstar Jools Lebron, whose viral success didn't just overwhelm her. She says it ruined her life. I want to go back to where we were in the conversation because now, everyone's after you. Celebrities, you're being invited. What was the most, off the top, one of the most extravagant things outside of the brand deals that happened?
I got invited to go to Milan Fashion Week with Bottega Veneta. And I got to interview celebrities. And it was fierce! I saw Rihanna!
So she was talking about going to Milan, the Fashion Week, and all of the cool things that basically were afforded to her because she went viral. So not everybody wants her.
Happened once this all ended because I couldn't understand how this was going to be. I couldn't see that I was going to have a successful influencer career. I, didn't see that this was going to go in a way that I was ever going to feel good about.
And so it sounds like you're feeling used by some brands. You feel that people that you've known, you no longer know anymore. You have this incident, horrifying incident at your home. And the drug helps the isolation.
Yeah.
You're masking.
Because when I'm by myself, I don't have to answer emails about brands. I don't have to be Jools on the internet. I can just be me, and the things that matter to me are important again. My dolls and my makeup are important again. And outside of that, nothing that I had to say mattered. There is so many things that would happen at events, different brands that took super advantage of me that if I open up about now, I'm hard to work with. So
how she's blackballed for everything she experienced in the industry. She had basically suffered a lot in silence, things that she couldn't talk about, I guess, until recently when she started to do these interviews. But, we always say that the grass is greener on the other side, and we don't know what people are actually going through. So we always want to compare. We put people on a pedestal. The moment they piss us off, we take them down off the pedestal, not realizing the sacrifices people have to make, not realizing how they're blackballed in the industry, not realizing the assault that some of them experience. Some people will say they brought it up on themselves, but just for wanting to do something you're passionate about, and all of a sudden how the very thing you're passionate about is the very thing that causes so much turmoil. So yeah, I mean, what is the cost of going viral and being famous and being a celebrity or whatever? Sometimes I guess it comes with the perks. It comes with notoriety, recognition. It comes with everybody wanting to throw things at your feet. And the moment that all of that crumbles, who are you as a person? You have to be locked in with who you are as a creator, as a person, as a mom, as a parent, as a daughter, as a sister, as a brother, as an uncle, as a teacher, whatever it is that you do. Just be humble and do that and live in that, because this world didn't give it and they can't take it away, but they swear they can. And it has impacted a lot of people that we know, from the Michael Jacksons to the Princes of the world to the Kurt Cobains. I mean, everybody you can name. Media and notoriety and celebrity has its bittersweet moments. But that's enough on Jools Lebron. Prayers for her. Cheyenne Bryant is the next person I want to talk about. So Cheyenne Bryant was on The Breakfast Club. And let's try to get the clip, because I did not watch the Breakfast Club interview myself. But of course, when I woke up, that's all over everywhere. So she's explaining to us her credentials, or the lack thereof. And if you don't know, she is here in this picture. All right, let's hear from her addressing this on The Breakfast Club. As far as I know, she was talking about, she went to Argosy. She tried to get her credentials, her transcripts, but Argosy's closed. And now there's so many people across Threads and wherever else that are talking about this. So this is Lauren LaRosa on The Breakfast Club asking Dr. Bryant this question.
On your dissertation online. Mm-hmm. How are you responding to that in this new era of your life?
I'm going to clear it up once on here. I'm not doing it again. And I'm clearing it up for my doc squad, for my fan base, for my audience who deserve to hear me address it. For the folks who have already made up their mind to not like me or not understand me, listen, I don't give a fuck what your narrative is. I would like for you to recreate it, double down on it, and run that shit, because I don't give a fuck about it. Now, to my doc squad, my fan base, my folks, you know, my village, it's very simple. I went to a school, Argosy University, completed an entire program. I went back online to get my official transcripts, because I was applying to a law school many years ago to be a professor there. And I had to provide my transcripts, right, to get hired. And I went to contact the school and say, hey, I need my official transcripts. I need my entire thing. And there was no school. I was like, okay, I'm confused. I Google. It says this school has been shut down. I said, oh, well, they got to have records. I mean, they were accredited when I attended the school. They were accredited when I finished the program. I go and look, there is a third party that has the records. Why contact the third party? That third party only holds records for 2 years. I was past my 2 years. So that means that I had no access to records. And then I contact.
All right. So again, that's Dr. Bryant. Some of the comments are, as someone who also attended Argosy, the way she just constructed that lie on this platform is scary. This is absolutely not what they did or how this happened. And then someone else says, she's a doctor like Dr. Dre is a doctor. Another person says, spoiler alert, this dissertation does not exist. Another person says, the 2026 version of The Dog Ate My Homework. This woman, another person said, is dangerous. Never heard a professional address people with such language. She seems to double down on the lies, if delusion was a person. And so my question was, again, not someone who has a dog in the fight, but is the smoke the same? Because she, to me, sounds exactly like Kevin Samuels when Kevin Samuels was hot. And it seems like she's the person to come in and take that space. And, you know, a lot of people have responded to my thread. Way more smoke, understandably. Kevin Samuels was basically outside of his target audience, but there was also no scandal of whether he had certain degrees or licenses. So I guess it's safe to say it's okay for you to perpetuate whatever narratives, but as long as you're not claiming to be a person of influence or a person with credentials, right, to say that you are a doctor or a therapist. So it's one thing for you to just be the average Joe spreading this kind of rhetoric. It's another thing for you to claim that you have a doctorate degree and you're a therapist that works with people spreading this type of rhetoric. I think people, I don't know when it started, but I think people started to get a bad taste in their mouths the moment Cheyenne Bryant said Cardi B's ex-husband Offset was in her DMs. And so that's a breach of confidentiality. And so as some person who has her credentials should never be disclosing such information, that's when I started to notice people were turned off by her. Could have been before that, could have been sometime after. But especially right now, all I keep thinking about is she reminds me of Kevin Samuels. And I didn't follow him and I didn't follow her. But just what I hear, people who have gone viral for critiquing other people and then positioning themselves as an expert and a coach of some sort, to me, they sound like the same person. And a lot of people are like, the only difference is Kevin Samuels never said he had a degree. And so it's okay for him to do it. It's not okay for her to do it. I'm just like, they sound the same and let's move on. But again, the real cost of going viral. So now, like someone who is talking about their degree, and that's what basically got them put on, now you have to kind of keep up with these lies. And so she's like making a declaration that I'm not going to keep talking about this anymore. This is the last time. So I guess she hopes that it all just dies down at some point and she can continue to be on this same trajectory where she's still on public stages talking about her expertise. Now, to me, they both sound, if you just listen to them, they sound educated. They sound like they are who they think they are. I guess if you pull back the curtains, you find all of the things wrong with what they say. But the same thing can be said about many of us. And so, again, being viral, keeping up with the facade, and then having to then expose or be exposed yourself and others, and then or standing 10 toes down on what you said and then being firm in that, just having the responsibility of always trying to be polished and always trying to be politically correct and always try to avoid getting canceled. We're talking right now about the whole Cheyenne Bryant debacle. And do you think that Cheyenne Bryant and Kevin Samuels were at all similar? Let me know in the comments. Now, we're still on the same topic, the real cost of going viral. So we have Kevin Hart. Apparently his company, Heartbeat, is reportedly in full-blown crisis mode involving layoffs and some other things. Now, I remember a few weeks ago, he was on the Sherri Shepherd show. And if I'm not mistaken, Sherri Shepherd is on her way out the door. They did not renew her season. And so here comes Kevin Hart. They have his silhouette. He's behind the scenes. They're not revealing who Kevin Hart, they're not revealing to Sherri Shepherd that Kevin Hart is the person or the man behind the silhouette, behind the scenes. But he comes out and she says, her first words were, as she's crying, "I'm so happy that you're here. We tried to get you on this show for so long. There were so many times we called out for you to come and you just never came. So it's just so good to see your face." And she's just moved with emotion. And his response was, back then it wasn't a good time. I was constantly on the road, but now I'm available. Going back to, is he now making more public appearances because he has to remain on top of mind for people, right? Because if you're out of sight, you're out of mind, as he's experiencing all of these crises, the layoffs and everything else. So is that why he was on the Sherri Shepherd show? Because he's trying to talk about his Netflix special and now he needs people, right, to help amplify what he was going to do. But now go to the Netflix special, which was premiered on Mother's Day. I did not watch it once again. But there's some people who were very racist, apparently, during this roast. Yesterday, I think, or the day before, I played Cat Williams' roast of Kevin Hart. But let's see if we can find these racist remarks. Of Kevin Hart. And then everybody's like, well, it's comedy at the end of the day. It shouldn't matter. My thing was, why aren't you, and I did not hear not one clip, so I don't know. But if your point is to roast Kevin Hart, how did George Floyd even become a talking point? Like, how did he even get involved? Let that man rest in peace. I mean, I guess I involved Kevin Samuels, so he got it straight too. But let me see. So,
you know, Kevin, they told me not to mention your kids on this roast, but I must say, you did good. They've gotten so big, they now buckle Kevin up in the car seat. It's true he lost his gig hosting the Academy Awards because of some homophobic tweets, but you'd be homophobic too if you were eye level with everyone's cock. He got into a fist fight on a private plane, proof that no matter how much money black people have, they're still just gonna act like ninjas. This fight. Like Bill Cosby, Hart is a black comedian from Philadelphia, and like Bill Cosby, women don't know when Kevin is inside of them. You've done good though, Kevin. The black community is so proud of you right now. George Floyd is looking up at us all, laughing so hard that he can't breathe. God bless you, Kevin. God bless this room, and God bless the United States of America.
So yeah, very controversial. A lot of people were not happy. I know I saw some posts from Lonnie Love who says it was very distasteful. And at this point, it's not funny. Kevin on stage said the same thing. Him being a comedian said that I have had so many different interactions with these type of comedians, and the jokes are old. They're dry. It's not funny. Find something else. And I think many of us all agree. But again, the cost of virality. So now Kevin Hart is this mega star, and he's been able to cross over. So he started with Soul Plane, and now he's been able to cross over into other spaces with other communities. And so now he's also over there. I put Kevin Hart up there with Charleston White and academics, people I don't follow. They may be from the culture, but they're not of the culture. They don't represent all of us. We don't agree. They talk crazy a lot of times. And so I guess Kevin Hart was defending the comments made about George Floyd. It's comedy. Nothing is off limits when it comes to comedy. Everybody else is saying that this is distasteful. But I made a comment. Well, I think I refrained from posting the comment I wanted to make, which was, once you become viral, you're this viral hit, you have to kind of keep that up. What is it to you to try to keep up being viral, being in the public eye? It comes the cost of fame. It comes with a lot. It comes with a target on your back, whether, Illuminati or indifferent. But it just comes with the target. And at some point, you have to be able to draw the line. Like, where does your integrity lay? Is it worth it to you to sacrifice yourself and others, be on this roasting block where people are talking bad about you for a check? And not even just talking bad about you, but talking bad about Black culture or Black people, making racist remarks, talking about someone who literally lost their life due to racism. Is it enough just for a paycheck? What's it to you for the cost of going viral? Last thing, the Dr. Pepper girlie, so a creator who previously went viral for a Dr. Pepper jingle, recently receiving recognition at the Weebie Awards, reignited conversations around virality, translating into long-term opportunity and mainstream validation. So let's see. Do you guys remember that young girl? This was very recently. At the Weebie Awards. And she can only say, 5 things? So I think she was the one that came up with this. Dr. Pepper, baby, it's good and nice. Dr. Pepper, baby, it's good and nice. So that's just one example of how virality could lead to some positive outcomes, leaving things off on a more positive note. She won a Weeby Award. Who was let me see. Let me ask chat what her name was. What was the young lady's name who recently went viral for creating a Dr. Pepper jingle?
Her name is Mandy McMillian. She went viral for her catchy Dr. Pepper jingle, and that buzz eventually helped her land a Webby Award. Quite a ride from a simple tune.
So yeah, what was the award that she won at the Weeby Awards?
She snagged a Webby Award in the Best Creator or Influencer Collaboration category. Her Dr. Pepper jingle really struck a chord, and that collaboration stood out as award-worthy.
Very dope. So I was basically talking to all of my podcast peeps and content creators online today about the real cost of going viral. So we mentioned Jools Lebron. We mentioned Cheyenne Bryant, who was talking about her degree that apparently she doesn't have. Talked about Kevin Hart, who actually let a lot of things slide that were racist at the recent roast session featured on Netflix. And then we wanted to end with a more positive note, talking about the influencer Mandy, who created the Dr. Pepper jingle. But what do you have to say about the topic?
Going viral is like a double-edged sword. It can open doors, but it can also put a magnifying glass on everything. People like Jools and Cheyenne highlight how credibility or perception can shift in a blink. Kevin Hart? Well, when you live in the spotlight, you're always one misstep away from a PR storm. But on the flip side, Mandy's story shows that sometimes virality is a platform for something truly earned. The trick? If you're going to go viral, make sure you're ready to own the whole story, good and messy.
Love that. Excuse me. Love that. Going viral is like a double-edged sword. It can open doors, but it can also put a magnifying glass on everything. Very true. More podcast conversations centered around what's going on virally. It actually does cost you. Integrity versus success, mental health conversations, public perception, and monetizing visibility without losing yourself. So that was the theme of today's conversation, you guys. That's all I wanted to share with you all today. The AI news, the pop culture news, and then leaving you with this. What is it to you? The cost of going viral. Will you be a person who, no matter what, tries to be a person of integrity? Or do you think that life comes with some sacrifices and compromises, and that's the only way, because the world that we live in is not fair? And you have to kind of do some curious stuff just for you to get where you want to go in this lifetime, because that's the way of the world. So let me know in the comment section. I'd be eager to hear from any of you. My name again is Danny Marie. The vocabulary word of the day was owned audience. And I will see you all tomorrow on Thursday, 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
This is a man's world.
Hey,
But it wouldn't be nothing without a woman.
hey. Started out riding, man with the geezers, when she didn't work out the pot about the cheese.